Well, here we are with Ron Perry. Without Ron, there would have been no Messina Huff. And so I thought this is an important time to understand what happened later. So let's go back and let's find out, Ron, how did you wind up at A&M?
Well, I left the Army after a 3-year stint, and I spent a year at Cal Poly trying to find myself as a teacher at San Luis Obispo, California, because I'm from California. And my wife's from Texas, and I knew we could probably move to going to Texas A&M because there were some opportunities for me to be a research technician and for her to teach in College Station. So, and that's exactly what happened. So we went to College Station, and I ended up starting on a master's program, and I was hired by Hollis Bowen to be his research technician in peach breeding. So I did that, and then he asked me if I could spend time on finding places that we could grow wine grapes in the state of Texas based on some interest and support from business people in the state. And he felt like he could get another person to be his research technician for peach breeding if I could spend most of my time on that. And I did that as well as work on my master's degree, and I wrote a wine grape feasibility study for the state to basically lay down foundations of where we thought would be the best areas to grow wine grapes in the state. Interestingly enough, the best areas that I could find were 80% of your grapes now grow, which was southwest of Lubbock. And at that time, I also published a paper on the presence, confirming scientifically the presence of Pierce's disease, which unfortunately is a real problem and restricts what you can grow, because 95% of the bunch grapes, which is the wine grapes, that we can grow today are very susceptible to Pierce's disease. And so that first study basically got us introduced to what are the limitations and where are the best areas to grow wine grapes. So there was a lot of interest in that, and then I was hired by Texas A&M after my master's degree to teach 3 or 4 courses, including a course that was partially viticulture, and then I did my research on cotton root rot, which was the other limitation to growing wine grapes.
So you really got involved in the major issues that we're still are major issues today.
You're still dealing with it today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and both of them are very difficult to deal with. Though I think the reason why I chose to work on cotton root rot rather than Pierce's disease is because cotton root rot was something that was a little more tangible, and that we had some 15 species native to the state of Texas growing in areas where we had cotton root rot. So there was some potential there to further understand how the disease basically kills vines as well as many other plants in the state. Whereas Pierce's disease is still a little bit like a black box. It's very difficult still to work with Pierce's disease and understand what the limitations are and where the geographic limitations are.
And then how did you wind up at Michigan?
Well, I had an opportunity to interview for a position after I was done in my area of academic interest, which was rootstocks and root systems, albeit it wasn't on grapes, it was on apples and cherries and plums and peaches. And I wanted to continue my academic area of interest, which was in in root system dynamics. And they were looking for somebody here at Michigan State University to do work on rootstocks. And the person before me that was here had developed an international reputation for rootstock work, developing high density systems. And basically that's what I did here, is I helped transition our apple growers, for example, coming from trees being planted 35 feet apart to trees now planted 3 feet apart. And it was the rootstocks were the key, the dwarfing rootstocks, and so I worked on that.
And then Ron made another major contribution to the Michigan industry in the fact that he has a son, Drew,
Yeah.
and he's probably the best winemaker in Michigan.
Well, that's your opinion. I don't know that he's the best one, but he's good.
And he
He's a good
attended classes
Yeah, he did.
in your department.
He did. I was department chair for 7 years, and there was a course that I put together with another person on pruning that we needed to have all of our students take, and Drew took that course along with his current co-owner of the business that he works for, and so Drew was really interested in becoming a winemaker, and so he started down that career path, and now has been doing it for about 19 years, and he's been very successful at it. Yeah.
Absolutely. We tasted his wines, and they're amazing. And I think the thing that's so important about talking to Ron is the fact that this is the rest of the story. A lot of us know about all the work that Ron did at A&M, but now we know where he wound up and the tremendous contribution that he's made to the industry here in Michigan.
Yeah, and then the sidelight to that is that after I finished my tenure as a department chair in 2007, I was looking for some interesting areas to continue my work, because I came back in the department as a faculty member. And one of the things I wanted to do was to develop a course on wine appreciation, because many of our students could only take the hospitality business course, which was limited to hospitality business majors. But we had many students on campus, and not only horticulture majors, but all across the campus, that wanted to learn more about wine. So I developed a course in 2009, 2011. A hospitality business professor and I co-authored a book, an electronic book, to support this course as well as 2 others on this campus. And now this course has 150 students with a long waiting list trying to get in. And when there's 150 students, there's probably 50 different majors from 50 different majors across the campus.
That's amazing.
To take the course.
So here again, Ron's planted another seed, and it's growing, and it is so wonderful to be able to meet up with you again and
same here,
and see all the rest of the story.
Well, and you too. I mean, I could remember working with you and answering questions you had, and I didn't have all the answers, but it was just fun to see somebody who just loved the idea of growing wine grapes and developing a vineyard, and then of course a winery, and what you've done with it over your career. It's just really fantastic.
Well,
and as my son said after he texted me saying, "Wow, not only was it a fantastic visit by Paul Bonarigo, but what a fascinating person."
Well, you see what happens when a person has a sprained ankle. And as a physical therapist, I get to meet Ron and work with him on his ankle. And as a result, he planted the seed for Messina hop. So thank you very much, Ron. And keep growing great grapes and keep drinking Texas wine.
That's right.